spot, nah, Jay. C-Dub on the beat. Back against the wall, CL20's knocking rated. IGI's tripping, validated, shoot ready.
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. When they got one chance to do this right, let's get it done. So with that being said, man, this was a crazy topic, and it's funny how the things work out in the best interest of, the audience and myself. Let's get into it. With that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and run my streams up, and you can check out my playlist section on my YouTube channel and check out my music right there. Thank you guys for you guys' time, but most importantly, thank you guys for you guys' support. Now, I already had a subject that I was going to talk about when it comes to MS-13, the other faction of the MS, which don't represent the 13 and the Mexican Mafia and what was going on. And as I'm doing that and having discussions with my subscriber, and he's giving me all the intel and the information of what's being talked about, the speculation on the streets and what it's actually behind, that incident that took place in Beaumont and USP, there was an incident that happened prior that hit the news articles. They didn't want to even identify the victim's name. But a subscriber actually posted a link in one of the comment sections. I read it, and I went and called my subscriber, and I was like, hey, bro, is this the same story you were telling me? And he was like, yep, that's him. We don't know why they didn't initially say the dude's name in the article. It abbreviates it to his initials, A and Z. But what happened was some MS members caught an attempted murder charge on a Mexican Mafia member, an 18th Street member at that. His name was Anthony Zaragoza. He went by Coco from 18th Street. Now, what happened was they ran up in there, and they banged him out. But the thing about it is, Coco's known for catching bodies. And Coco had a banger on it himself. And there was two MS members outside of their door waiting with pedazos. So they were trying to take his win, bro. They were trying to take this Mexican Mafia dude out the game. But he survived. But like I told my subscriber, hey, I wonder why they abbreviated his name to A and Z. They didn't want to identify who exactly it was. And then following that incident occurred with the MS members and the Mexican Mafia members and the feds. So I asked him, what's this about? So before I can describe why they blasted Coco from 18th Street, I gotta go back a little bit further. Now, it goes back further that there was a couple of members that were MS-13 that were getting made back in the day. One of them was Little One. He did describe Little One as being an individual who put in a lot of work and made a lot of money for Fox. It was actually stipulated that this was the only person Fox ever raised his hand in to be made. But he wound up getting stripped and sat down later on for unbecoming reasons. But there had been other individuals who were in the process of getting made, were either voted down or either got made and told to step down. One of them was Dreamer from Hollywood Boys, MS-13. So I asked him, I go, why are all these fools like in the process of getting made, about to get made, probably received blessings, but nobody else is making the MS-13? And he goes, it's simple. We're not going to make a bunch of MS-13 members. That's too many power seats to give to this organization in itself. So I was like, how if the organization is working with you guys? They're working for you guys. And he says, that's the point. He goes, when the Mexican Mafia seen the MS that were deep soldiers, individuals that were ruthless, gruesome, willing to do whatever, willing to work for whatever and make money for them. It's like, you got to keep them on a leash. That's what it was. That's when they gave them the 13. Like I said, Mexican Mafias, they're big capitalists when it comes to utilizing manpower to their advantage. And since these dudes were all immigrants, these dudes crossed over the borders. They're in the streets of LA, created their own neighborhood. Now they got their own barrios in the streets of Los Angeles. It was obvious that they were going to have to adapt to it was obvious that they were going to have to fall in line and under the umbrella of the Mexican Mafia, in which they adopted the concept of 13. So, I was listening to it, but I was a little bit confused. I'm like, okay, so if they represent the 13, they're as equivalent as a Sureño. So what's the difference? He said there's a big difference. MS and 18th Street been going at it for a long time in the streets, bloody wars. And they go at it in different countries, foreign countries. They go at it in different states, not just California. So that feud is what led to the incident that occurred with Coco, because Coco thought he can press up on these dudes and dictate their program and tell them what to do because he was an M member from the feds. And the MS looked at it like, bro, we ain't finna answer to this fool. We go to war with these vatos, So they wound up blasting them. They weren't finna take orders from an 18th Street Mexican Mafia member. So I was confused, and I go, well, what's the difference? You know, it's still MS-13. If they're under the umbrella and you guys got them on a leash, then why would they blast them? That's an arrogant move. That's a power move. And he's like, no. He goes, the ones from California represent MS-13. The ones out of state and from the foreign countries that go to different states like Utah, Virginia, New York, everywhere but Cali, they don't represent the 13. It's just Mara Saba. He said they have their own pecking order, their own big homies that they listen to that are in El Salvador. He said they have their own big homies. They have their own organizational structure. He said before these two incidences occurred in the feds, Little One at the time that was representing for Fox was already working with Mullah, right? Mullah was doing stuff for them. Mullah's in the feds right now. They were making him. Mullah did a lot to orchestrate the ties between the Mexican Mafia and the cartels in Mexico. He goes, that's how Mullah made his bones, how he orchestrated and organized that very well. He goes, but you got Little One over here who's highly influential, who was damn near going to be made to be a Mexican Mafia member, in control of the MS-13 in California, in Southern California. But what Fox wanted to do was he had Little One doing conference calls with all these MS cliques and subsections outside of California and was telling them, hey, we need you to fall in line. We need you guys to represent the Trece, start working for the Mexican Mafia, become their soldados, not the big homies from El Salvador, and we'll bless you guys. Since at that time, they had a connection with, Caballeros Templarios. They were getting a lot of money from los Templarios in Mexico. So they were willing to contribute, bricks, kilos of dope in exchange for their alliance and pledging allegiance to the Mexican Mafia. But see, it was already under speculation. It was already being discussed prior to these conference calls. A lot of the MS, including the MS in LA, were like, bro, why we got to pay these fools so much taxes? Why are they taxing our vadios? Why do we got to do so much for these vatos? Like, they started feeling used themselves. So what it was is the individual that killed Fly, they made him to become a Mexican Mafia member so he could take control of the MS-13 in Los Angeles and keep them under the umbrella to keep their allegiance to the Mexican Mafia. But the ones out of state are under that mentality. Like, bro, we ain't paying these fools nothing. We want all the money. And besides, a lot of our brothers have been close to getting made or either got made and told to step down. It's like they had something against Salvadorians, making brothers that are Salvadorians. So they already had a messed up mentality and a messed up perception towards the Mexican Mafia, and they were already pulling away anyways. So Little One can't orchestrate the MS outside to fall in line and start working with the big homies. Then these two incidences occur. So it made a lot of sense to me that I'm hearing this from my subscribers, and I'm like, all right then, but how come the MS don't go to war with the MS-13? And he pretty much said, hey, bro, the same way we got politics, they got politics. Just like it's against the rules for us to kill one another and go after one another, it's the same thing for them. They can't be taking each other out unless it's legitimate reasons. They still got big homies in El Salvador. He goes, we'll mess things up, even though the conference call between Little One and the rest of the MS outside of California didn't work. It's that the president of El Salvador locked down all the MS gang members out there. Locked them down. No communication, no visits, no phones, no letters, no nothing. Treating them like straight mierdas. Like, it's really brutal. It's really cruel and unusual. And if you watch the documentaries, you can see, and me and him watched them together, and he talked about it. And he's like, bro, they have no communication to their big homies. So right now they're just doing whatever. They're taking over whatever streets, developing all these vadios out here. Their numbers are getting bigger, but they have no contact to the big homies to see what's next. So, I started debating with him like, hey, so what do you think will happen if the big homies, finally get contact again? Because, obviously, human rights are going to get involved, and it's cruel and unusual punishment to treat them prisoners like that. What if the big homies from MS reach out to the other MS and is like, hey, bro, forget these fools. We're already blasting them in the feds. Let's really go to war with them. But my subscriber honestly said, bro, that's a losing battle. That the Mexican Mafia and the Sureños have a lot more numbers, have a lot more power, a lot more money, a lot more control over the penal system. He's like, nobody likes MS. So everybody's going to band together and go against these dudes. No yard in the feds or in the states going to let these dudes walk the yard. He said that's why they made that individual that blasted Fly. So he can keep control of the ones in Los Angeles, at least until they figure out how to get the rest of the MS across the states in line. He goes, that's why the brothers in the feds, the Mexican mafia members in the feds, are trying to establish themselves in different states. It's not only to gain more power and more control and more territory and push the umbrella out in different states and become one big organization. It's because these individuals are doing the same thing. They're going to all these different states, claiming territory, making money. So they're both following each other's playbook. And I asked myself, so who do you think is going to win? And he said, most definitely the Sureños will, because nobody likes the Mexican mafia. And I honestly agree with that. He said the ones out of state, the MS out of state, they do things a little bit different. They commit certain crimes that are, undesirable, are disgusting. And you know what I'm talking about. He says the ones in LA, they follow our reglas. They follow our rules. They abide by our laws. So they can get deemed and they can get hit and they can get blasted for some of the crimes that these other individuals commit outside the states. He goes, so nobody's going to let them walk the main lines, not even in the feds. The Norteños ain't, the syndicates aren't, the Mexican mafia in Texas and Arizona. Nobody's going to let these fools walk the line if they go to war with everybody. So he said the individual Coco getting blasted and the other one in the feds getting blasted is because these dudes don't represent the 13. So they don't feel like answering to these big homies, and that's why those individuals in the feds got blasted. So when it comes to this subject, I'm a little neutral. What if that does happen? What if the big homies from El Salvador say, you know what, forget these fools. Go after them. We got the numbers. We're in different states. We're on all yards. We're on all penal systems. That would be one ugly war to watch and witness and stand sideline and watch that really happen. But we all know the Mexican mafia member, and that's an MS-13 member in the States, at least he got a tight control and a tight grip on the ones in California. And I wonder if the ones from California would just continue to work under the umbrella of the Mexican mafia and go against their own brothers because of the threat that they adopted? Or will they branch off too? Not that I don't think, the ones from LA would, if they was to walk away and go join their brothers in battle. I don't see that. I don't see the Mexican mafia losing a lot of control because their vados are in Los Angeles, bro. So they're going to be surrounded by other Sureño gangs. They're going to take them out. But that would be one bloody war to watch. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. That was information that my subscriber provided and wanted to explain the reason why that 18th Streeter got blasted by MS. They've been going to war for many, many years, and they weren't going to answer to no 18th Street Mexican Mafia member tell them what to do, period. Whether he was from 18th Street or whether he's a Mexican Mafia member, they weren't going to listen to him, so they blasted him. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. When they got one chance to do this right, let's get it done. Peace.